Hi, everyone. This is episode 24 of the Fast and Fabulous podcast. I have with us today Joyce Holthaus. And Joyce, you were episode 6 when I was a brand new baby podcaster. I don't know if I've matured super a lot since then, but we had such a great talk then, and I'm so happy to have you back. So welcome back.
Well, thank you. I can't believe that was only episode 6
I
because you
know.
sounded so like you just always sound like you know exactly what you're doing. So
Well,
yeah, and
thanks.
here you are 24 episodes later. Wow.
I know it's been quite the journey, let me tell you, but I just keep trucking along because I do not want to ever stop sharing about intermittent fasting.
I'm with you, Michelle. I just feel I feel the longer that I do intermittent fasting, right? And the longer I stay at this weight that's never happened to me in my lifetime. I mean, since 12, the more
Right.
I'm just amazed and want to get the word out. I just, people will say things to me like, well, intermittent fasting isn't for everybody. I I get that, but I think it's for more everybody's than not. I
Yeah,
think there's very few people it's not for. I don't think everyone's willing, but I just feel that this needs to be known.
it
This needs to
does.
be known.
It's truly it's a gift, it's free, and it happens naturally. And it's so magical what happens over the course of like you're 3 years in almost. Are you 3 years in?
Yes. Yes.
I'm 3 years in today, actually. And
Oh,
I know it's
happy
crazy, right?
anniversary.
Thanks, lady. So yeah, no, but it just your body continues to change even after long after you've reached your weight goal if you're in it for the weight loss. But just long after that, you just keep the autophagy keeps working, the body recomposition keeps working. And I weigh the same now as I did when I hit my goal, but my body is smaller. Imagine
Is,
that.
isn't that amazing? Yeah.
It's quite amazing. It is. So you began fasting in the year 2020, same as me, in the infamous pandemic year. What month of the year did you start, by the by?
I started in I believe it was November, the beginning of
Okay.
November.
So you were like,
Um,
it wasn't March, right? It wasn't March, it wasn't April. You had a few months, but it was still crazy times.
it was crazy times. I had put on weight. What's funny is I was also teaching fitness. I was teaching fitness and putting on weight. And I was teaching fitness from my home because we were quarantined.
Mm,
And yeah, and I really came from like if I worked out harder and cut calories, I would lose weight. I came from that. I
same.
learned that belief early on, and it guess what? It wasn't working. It
That's
wasn't working. And
yeah.
the discomfort of not feeling comfortable in your own body. I don't even know the words. Sometimes I'll read what other people write about that. I'm like, yes, yes.
Yeah.
It just there's so much uncomfortableness about that feeling that I can't get over how nice it is not to feel that. And I was thinking about this, Michelle. Sometimes that can still creep up, right? Like you
Oh
put on
yeah.
a pair of jeans, and even though they fit the same, in my mind, I think, I wish these were baggier. Like, why? But that it's funny how that diet mentality that, I know we call it that, but how that can just rear its ugly head every once in a while. It's brief and I don't live in it like I used to, but yeah,
I find
I
that
love,
too. I do.
yes,
Even
yeah,
after 3 years. And I think the reason for that is because we lived our whole lives with this calories in, calories out diet mentality, like we're all little mathematical equations.
yeah, yeah,
But we aren't. We're all not the same, and our
so
bodies
true.
don't work all the same. So there's not we know there's not a one size fits all plan for intermittent fasting, and you have to find what works for you. So when you started out, Joyce, what worked for you? What was your fasting protocol?
So when I first started, I thought I'm just not going to eat after 8 o'clock at night because I would sit and eat, my husband would go to bed and I'd sit and watch shows and just mindlessly snack. I can't even tell you I was hungry. It's just what I did.
Mhm.
So that was sort of like learning a new habit, right? And
Yeah.
I stopped doing that. And my husband and I we would normally eat pretty late in the morning, like 10:30, 11ish, something like that, almost lunchtime.
Mhm.
And so I was fasting without really even knowing it. And then after I read Jen Stevens' book, Fast, Feast, Repeat, I thought, okay, I think I can go 16 hours. So I started doing the 16-8. And to be honest, Michelle, so if I told you all the labels that I had for myself, right? I was a compulsive overeater. I was addicted to sugar. All of those things. An 8-hour eating window was probably too much for me. And I began to realize that as I would, like watching the clock, okay, the window's open, and then watching the clock, oh, the window's going to close,
Yeah.
stuff. But that began to correct itself.
Sure.
And then I began to think, okay, so what if I went a little longer than 16-8 and started going 18-6? And then what happened is I would get busy. Maybe my window was supposed to open, but I got busy. And next thing you know, it was another hour. And even now, people have said, well, what do you do in maintenance? I'm like, it's pretty simple. I'm doing the same thing, really,
Same
and
thing.
just eating. I mean, I'll have a snack. I like to break my fast with nutrition. So I have a nutritional shake that
Yeah.
it's powder I mix with water. I drink
Yeah.
that. And then I just, I am I really think protein.
Oh,
We all
yes.
need, more protein. So I like to make sure that I'm focusing on that when I open.
So
And
smart.
then, my husband and I'll have dinner. And what's funny now, it's so funny when I don't know if I've ever said this out loud, but now I'm watching the clock like, okay, we got to hurry up and finish eating dinner because I don't
I
want to
want to
be eating.
close.
I want to close early, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, where it used to be like, what else can I eat before I close? Now it's like, I want to close my window early, and sometimes I've had times, Michelle, where my snack when I open is big to where I don't even want to eat dinner. So I don't,
Yeah.
and I love the freedom and flexibility.
You just have to like listen to I mean, it takes a little while to hear it after you start fasting, but fasting allows us to hear what our body needs and what it doesn't need.
Yes.
So once you get to that point, your cravings just change, and it's just absolutely amazing what happens, and it's so flexible in what you can do because like you said, sometimes I open the same. I'll open them up with something and I'll be like, oh man, like I put too much food on my plate. And I'll finish it though because I'm like, whoa. But then I'm like, when it comes to dinner time, I'm like, I'm not really into it. So I mean, sometimes I'll just skip it. Sometimes I'll just close with a high protein snack.
Yeah.
Um, and do what I can to get in I try to go for 100 grams a day, although I'm trying to up that by at least 20 grams. So we'll see. I'm really working on my protein intake, that's for sure. It's been a hot topic. You said you're focusing on your protein. It's so important for women especially.
It really is. And I think 100 grams is good. I have been trying to focus on that as well, and I
Yeah.
don't count calories or anything, but it's interesting when you start tracking your protein,
Yeah.
you start really looking at what's high in protein, what's good in protein. And I've fallen back in love with things like cottage cheese and tuna,
Yes.
and yogurt. You're the one that I love, the yogurt
I
bowls.
love yogurt.
I love
Yeah.
making yogurt bowls and I use the plain Greek yogurt,
Me too.
full fat, by the way.
Yes.
And yeah, so I love yogurt and cottage cheese. Both of them I think are so good because it's protein and fat. And
Win-win.
yeah, it is a win-win. And I love finding things that have a lot of protein in them. And it's interesting, I don't know if you've noticed this, but when you focus on the protein, you're really not as hungry for the carbs
I
or the,
was just gonna say that. Your
yeah,
fasts the next day are easier. Your cravings are less for the sugar and the carby foods. And
yes.
I mean, not that carbs are the enemy. I mean, I eat carbs,
Oh, I
but
love
my
carbs.
my cravings for them go down, and certainly my cravings for sweets have almost dissipated. It is so weird. I never thought I'd be sitting here saying this, but I like, even through the holidays, we had so many sweets and holiday treats around, and I was, you could, my husband couldn't confirm this. I was like sneering my nose about it. I'm like, nope, not worth it, not worth it, not worth it. I mean, I found some things that were worth it to me,
Right.
but some of the junky kind of stuff and I don't know, I just couldn't really tolerate it this year.
Yeah, I am the same. I am the same. And you're right. You want it to be good, right? It's like if I'm gonna put this in my eating window, I want it to be good.
It's got to be good.
Um,
It's got to be worth it.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And I find too that when I'm focused on the protein like that, that just a little bit is good. I don't need like a lot. Do you
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like that with the sweets
Oh
anyway, you're
yeah,
like just a little bit satisfies or a little piece
sure.
of dark chocolate, not the whole thing or
Right.
that type of thing. Yeah, it is amazing. It is, and I think it again, it shows just how much our body needs it,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
I
the
think
it,
that,
my
yeah,
yeah, my husband has been working on, getting his last bit of his weight off, and I I'm like, you need to start. I don't want to sound like a diet minded or whatever, and I don't count my macros, not at all, really. I was just paying attention to my protein intake.
yeah,
I was shocked when I found out I was getting less than half of what I should in a day. And he was shocked to find out, because I broke down what he ate yesterday, because today he was feeling like crap and just hard. He was white knuckling, I could see it,
oh, yeah,
and struggling through his workout. And I was like, well, what did you have to eat yesterday? And we counted it up, and I'm like, well, that's like 65, 75 grams of protein, and you're over 200 pounds. I'm
wow.
like, that's not, I'm like, we need to get this up. So I'm hoping that works. But yeah, it's been an eye-opening experience for sure. Um, you came to fasting for, like, not for the weight loss. Most people come for the weight loss, stay for the health benefits. It was the opposite for you. So have you seen any more health benefits since the last time we spoke?
I, I was pretty healthy when I started fasting. But really what caught my attention was the anti-aging. I'm like,
Yeah.
when I learned about autophagy, I was like, okay, I was 67, I think, when I started, 68 when I started fasting. And, I'm not getting any younger. And I'm like, okay, anything, I've always been about healthy aging, but now, I'm seeing that pay off. But this is just like the icing on the cake, if you will, for me when it comes to the healthy aging and feeling that, starting to feel the benefits. And I didn't come for the weight loss only because I thought this was another diet
Right.
when I thought about it for weight loss. But when I started to see all the health benefits, I was like, oh my gosh. And you talk about, so little things I've noticed, like spider veins aren't as much on,
Oh,
I've always had, my mom had horrible varicose veins, and I've always had spider veins and some varicose veins, but not as much. I don't notice them as much on my legs. it's little things, healthy skin, my skin not being as dry, dental health. My dentist is thrilled. Getting my teeth cleaned used to be quite the ordeal because
Yeah.
I would get so much plaque buildup on the bottom. And it's been amazing now.
That's
And
incredible.
the improvement,
Yeah.
and so, I drink coffee all day long. I don't whiten my teeth, so yeah,
That's something. I mean,
yes.
my dentist is always like, you need to stop drinking coffee. So I'm like, sorry, not happening.
Yeah. Well, especially the way you make yours. Yours is I still drink it hot because, and I have a sweater on because I live in the north. It's cold here.
Well, I will say this. It's winter here, but winter for us Floridians means something a little bit different. But I can't tolerate the icy coffee on really cold mornings. This morning it was like 40 something degrees outside. I know. Not such a big deal for anybody else who lives in the north, but for me, I'm cold. So I take my coffee and I pour it and I put in like one ice cube and a bit of like pink salt, and I just drink it. I just go for it. Like I don't say choke it down because I don't really mind the taste anymore. When I first started drinking black coffee, it's really, I think that's the thing everybody has the hardest time with, is the black coffee. But yeah, it's just one of those things. But I do drink it black in the morning hot on the cold morning. So this morning was one of those mornings. And then I could leave my windows open for the lattes and the little things that I want to make, and I make them myself now. So I used to go to Starbucks. I sometimes I go to Starbucks, but I leave those for my window and I still enjoy
Yeah.
those.
Don't you find too the trick is finding a good coffee?
Oh yeah,
It's finding a
absolutely.
good coffee. And I don't know, we we've always, I've whenever I go to Starbucks, I can't just drink that coffee plain. I have to put stuff in it. So sometimes I'll do that as well when my window's open. Then I have to get decaf because Starbucks coffee in the afternoon, it's like,
Yeah,
but
it's a lot.
yeah. But I've just found finding good coffee. And so my husband and he likes strong black coffee. He's like a French roast kind of guy.
Right.
I'm a milder kind of thing. So I just put water. I water it down.
Yeah,
And like you said, the pink Himalayan salt,
it
I
helps.
don't know. I really don't like to drink coffee without salt anymore.
Well, I have a weird thing that nobody sees me do because nobody's in my kitchen at 6 a.m. when I'm doing it. I have a salt grinder with my pink
Grinder, yeah.
salt, and I grind a tiny bit in the palm of my hand, and I just take a little lick, and then I throw the rest in my coffee. And that's
Been
my
there, done that. You're not alone. You're not the only
electrolytes.
one.
Here I go. And
Yeah.
then I make usually my icy coffee sparkling water concoction. And I used to drink a lot of more coffee, but I've tried to down it to 1 cup in the morning, 1 cup in the afternoon.
Yeah.
That's it. Otherwise, I get too jittery and crazy.
Yeah. Mine lasts a while. I have a good sized cup, but it'll last, till it's almost cold. I start out hot and then it gets cold, but
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
And it's just,
Yeah.
I don't even know. I probably could just do water too. I just like it, you know.
I mean, people are afraid to mix coffee with water, but don't be afraid because it's
Yes.
a wonderful idea. Even like, flat water or sparkling. I like sparkling, but either way,
Yeah.
it's a great way to kind of give it, take off that edge of the bitterness because it can be much. It can be a lot to get used to. Save the creamy, yummy coffees. I call them milkshakes for your window and enjoy them then. I do.
It's
One thing
funny.
that oh, sorry, you go ahead. You
No,
go.
no, you go. When you said milkshakes, it made me think of my sister. When she started intermittent fasting, her coffee was like a milkshake as well. And that was the hardest thing for her. But she just started doing water instead of the milk. So
Yeah.
it's still, it kind of tamed it down. And her big thing, Michelle, she said, look, and my sister was, what the medical community would have termed morbidly obese.
Mhm.
And so she said, look, I just put on my big girl panties and drank it. And then it's
That's
gotten used to it.
I love that. I love that. I couldn't, that's kind of how I did it at first. I kind of just choked it down and I, I, I'm like, okay, here we go. It was kind of like taking a shot, like, I was in college, but it was
Yeah.
black coffee, and I need to get my caffeine, but I need to get going too. But some people just can't tolerate it and just prefer to drink water until their window opens. And I know a lot of people who like to open their window with a creamy coffee, and then go on and eat something, some food. So, you know, last time we spoke, you said you were, over the course of the time you had been fasting, you, released approximately 13 pounds. And we know we're not really focusing on that so much anymore, but have you lost any more weight since we last talked?
So I have totally released like 35 pounds.
Right.
So yes. So and to be honest, the last time
Oh,
we
did I
talked
say
about
13?
this. Yeah, you did.
35. Sorry,
35.
not
But the
13.
last time we talked about the scale a little bit. And
Yeah.
I was kind of struggling, I'd gone from weighing daily. Jen suggests that in her book, right? Weighing daily, taking the average. I had done that. Then I was weighing monthly, I think it was. And I told you on that call, I'm just going to ditch the scale. And I have not weighed myself since we did that podcast.
Are you
So
kidding? You
I'm
haven't
not
weighed
kidding.
since we did that podcast on April 4th. The only reason I know that, I mean, I looked it up for one, but it was my birthday. So so you haven't weighed since April 4th of last year?
I have not weighed myself, not once,
That's
other than when I
awesome.
went to the doctor, they weighed me, but I weighed the same.
Do
And
you
so,
look?
I use one of those free apps and it's always like, enter your weight. And I just keep clicking. It's just, I just keep clicking the
Same,
same way.
same.
So, so I don't know, I'm wearing the same clothes and they fit great.
That's a good
I'm
measure.
now, I mean, I can buy extra large on shirts if I want, because sometimes it's
Isn't
cheaper
it
and they have really
crazy?
cute ones. Um,
Yeah.
but I haven't really, I feel stronger. I feel like I'm faster on the pickleball court.
Mhm.
So
Do you work out every day? Are you like a
I
walker?
I
What do you
do.
do?
I have a dog, so I
Yeah.
walk him out. I walk him outside every single day, no matter the weather. But I feel like that is so good for me to
Oh,
bundle up and get outside, no matter what. I don't know if I would if I didn't have him,
dogs
but
are great to get you outside for
they
sure.
are. Yeah, we probably go out. If it's not bitterly cold, we'll be out for at least like 20 minutes and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just go on YouTube and find workouts that I
Yeah.
like to do on
There's
there.
so much. There's so much out there. And it's just like free workouts, like
Yes.
so
Yeah.
many. Like just go on YouTube and search it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's amazing what's out there, even like Pinterest or just Googling something. So
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't working out when I was losing so much as I just walked, I just walked a lot.
Yeah.
And
I've always walked.
yeah, I just, and then being a mom is kind of like a sport. So
Yeah.
especially to
Your
two little boys. So
your life is a workout. That's what I tell moms and especially with little boys. If you're running around and playing with them and doing stuff with them,
yeah,
my
I
goodness.
mean, oh,
Yeah. When
if
my
they're
grandkids are here, now they're from 12 down to 7.
okay.
There's 5 of them. And every year we do a grandpa camp. And I mean, it is a workout. It's like 4 or 5 days of working out. It's also really good for me because it gives me an idea of what other moms go through when you're preparing food while you're fasting, right? But I feel like that just kind of it almost strengthens your fasting muscle a little bit and the brain, the just the whole paying attention to what you're putting in your mouth, right?
Totally being mindful of what you're putting in. Because
Yes.
I used to eat, like, I would be preparing my kids' food and I would just be snacking on whatever it was, their leftovers, what, because,
Oh, yeah.
kids leave a lot of foods usually. And I'll be like the crust of the bread, whatever it is. I'm just,
Yes.
chomp, chomp,
Yeah.
chomp. But when I was, started to fast and it being that mindset, my window's not open yet. I just keep it closed. I'm going to keep my mouth closed.
Yes.
And it did. It helped kind of just strengthen that fasting muscle. It's really, really a lot of mindset. That's what I tell people. It's like 80% mindset.
Yes. Yeah. There's a gal that is in my fast coaching group thing, and she's almost down 100 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
And that's exactly what she'll tell people. And she decided in, I think it was June or July, to give up sugar. She's definitely got insulin resistance. And,
Okay.
she's done some tweaking along the way. She was a big fast food eater,
Mhm.
and, she's single. So, you're coming home after a long day of work,
Yeah,
easy to go through the drive through.
sure.
But we talked and kind of worked through that for her and what would work. And she said, because a friend of mine said, how did you quit sugar? She said, it's really mindset. And she said, there's times like she'll go to a wedding or something and someone will be like, oh, are you going to have a piece of cake? And she'll think about it and she'll be like, nah, I don't think that's worth breaking it's like when you've
Yeah.
gone that long, now you don't want to break it for a piece of wedding cake, which isn't always even that great, right? Um,
I'm gonna go ahead and guess it's because she probably has had, gone and had a treat or, whatever, and the way she feels after. For me, that's what I look at. How do I feel after I eat something?
right.
Is it a treat if I feel like garbage afterwards?
Right. Or am I white knuckling it the next day, like you talked, because there are times that same thing. I'm like, man, why am I hungry at 10:30 in the morning? Then I
Oh
kind
yeah.
of go back and think of, oh yeah, we had pizza last night. Not the best to close my window with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I the better food I close my window with, the more success I have with my fast the following day, because it's just so important to keep it nutritionally dense and satisfying, to eat something that's going to fill you up and not just empty calories.
Yeah.
Fast food is one of them.
Well, and when you think about it, Michelle, our bodies need a certain amount of nutrition, right? And when I say nutrition, I mean our vitamins, our minerals, fiber. Our body needs that to function. And so, all the processes that our body handles and stuff. And so when we're eating not nutrient dense food, we're not giving our body all of that. And so it
Absolutely.
does, it makes it feel more tired because it's working so much harder. It just doesn't feel as good as when we're feeding it what it needs, because our bodies are amazing miracles, but
Oh gosh,
we
yes.
have to we have to give them what they need. We have to fuel them. And
Yes, 100%. And you have to
yeah,
really, that's part of the mind shift, really,
it
is
is.
eating for, sustenance, eating to satiety and stopping, not
Right.
eating because you're bored or because, it's just, tastes really good sometimes. And sometimes that's what you need, like hormonally and stuff. And I always like to say, because we're about food freedom. So
Yes.
that's the thing. If something is hindering your progress, I always tell people to go look in the mirror and see, is it sugar? Are you having a treat every single day in your
Right.
window because you can eat whatever it is you want in your window? And
Yeah.
that worked for me for a little while, but then it doesn't.
Yes. And you know what? You bring up such a great point, Michelle, because that is some of the freedom that attracted me to intermittent fasting, right? Like I can
Mhm,
eat whatever I want during my window.
mhm,
And I had an unhealthy view of that
mhm.
for a while. But then this natural phenomenon called appetite correction, right, begins to happen. And you begin to feel like, yeah, what I want started to change, if that makes sense. I didn't, and again, because of my past dieting history, you go on a diet, you go off a diet, you go on a diet, you go off. And when you're off, you are off, right?
Mhm.
And so that is such a great point. Yes, we can eat whatever we want, but we and part of it is the mindset changes about what we want. We
Right.
begin to want what's good for us, not just what might feel good in my mouth right now.
Right. A huge point that I want to point out is appetite correction. It takes a while, and everybody is different as to how long it will take for you to reach appetite correction. How long did it take you? Do you know? Do you have an idea?
I really don't. And I will say this too. I don't know if I'm fully there yet. I feel like that's
Really?
one of those things that keeps happening, right?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
feel like it can happen more and more over time. Like,
That's interesting. I feel
well,
like that
now
might be
I'm more
true.
aware. So, it's like you become more aware of things. Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
appetite correction or not? Like wanting
Well,
to have more protein or,
I feel like you just
or
want to do better in general, and maybe
yes,
that is you could say you could kind of lump it and categorize it into appetite correction, but I feel like yeah, you're more aware of what's going into your body overall,
right.
and you want it to be worthy of your window. So like while we say food freedom, yeah, eat whatever you want, but maybe if you feel like sweets or whatever it is that's hindering your progress, you've stalled and you think this isn't working for you, look at what you're eating. Are
Yeah.
you eating a treat every, like I said, are you eating a treat every day? Are you drinking a wine every night? That is a huge one. And
Yeah.
I found out early on wine and me, we don't work together. But look at your window and see what is it, and have an honest conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
And then don't cut that food from your life. Don't think about it like this, like I can never have a treat
Right.
again. Oh my gosh. No,
Right.
look at it this way. I'm gonna not eat treats for this week until Friday, and then I'm gonna have one after and close my window with something on Friday.
Yeah.
Just delay it. And
Right.
sometimes you need to delay it a while, or sometimes you just need to
Right.
delay it a few days, whatever it
I
is.
That's what I love about that saying, right? Delay, don't deny. Maybe you want to delay it for 6 months. Maybe you want to delay it till you're at your goal weight, but you don't have to deny it forever,
Absolutely
and
not.
and starting slowly with the delay. Maybe you delay it for 3 days, and then see if it's still worth it. Is it still worth it?
And sometimes you have to like play around with what it is and pinpoint what it is that's kind of
Yes.
making the scale not move or making your progress not go forward.
Right.
It can be usually, and I hate to say it, the two culprits are sugar and alcohol. Those are
Yeah.
the two biggest culprits where people say, I'm stuck and I don't know why. And 9 times out of 10, it's one of those two things.
Yeah. And it can also though be, Michelle, that their body is healing inside, right?
100%.
And I had this photo one time. I should look and see if I can find it and put it in our Facebook group because it shows about when your body is losing visceral fat
Yeah. Hmm.
on the inside. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we don't see that loss, but it's your body, again, all those processes, right? Maybe it's working on reducing your insulin levels, right? There's so many things that are going
I
on.
like to like compare it to a stage play. There's so much stuff happening in the background that you don't see. And that's
Right.
happens in fasting. And that's
Yes.
why the scale does not tell the whole story. And
No.
I mean, either stay the heck away from it or take your average weigh at the same time every day, take the weekly average. If you're moving down, you're going in the right direction, even if
Yeah.
it's slow.
The scale's not the demon. It's how we let it affect us, right?
Wow,
It's how we
totally.
it's how, like, I can feel so great. And right now, if I go get on the scale and it's a number that I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It can affect me emotionally. I know that.
Oh,
And
what?
so
Yeah.
I think it's good when you're in the, when you're in the beginning and all that. I think it does help you kind of look to see, do I need to tweak this? Do I not? But don't get so emotionally connected to it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I really couldn't agree more. I mean,
I
listen, it's not like it's not a one size fits all. We have to
Right.
find what works for our unique self. We're all so unique. And that's why when I in the group and stuff, when people post pictures and they say, well, what is your fasting protocol? What do you do? What do you, they want to know exactly what you eat, exactly what your times of days are.
Right.
And while that's all great research and stuff like that, and it's not what works for this person isn't going to necessarily work for you.
Right.
But I would say, just experimenting, a lot of experimenting, trial and error, be kind to yourself. I
Mm,
know there's a lot of people listening right now that are just starting. So I'm trying to give a lot of information about, kind of starting out. Is there anything else you
yeah.
could think of? Like for
I
somebody, the black coffee is one of them we talked about.
Right. Well, and I would say
Oh,
measure,
yeah.
take measurements and do those photos. I mean, boy, sometimes when I see people post the face-to-face photos I'm like, wow,
They do
I
not
wish I'd have
lie,
had
photos.
someone to tell me early on to, take photos, measure. I'd always done that in other diets, I think,
Mhm.
but yeah, that I think that's huge. Water, make sure you're drinking lots of water because I
Yes.
think that is huge as well. It really it helps. People don't realize sometimes that drinking water also helps those processes in your body, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
just
how we flush
drinking,
out fat, right?
yes, yeah, and toxins that we get,
Absolutely.
right? And you drinking water first thing in the morning is so, so good to get your body going. So things like that, we've talked about protein and black coffee. And like, I love what you said, Michelle, is be kind and gentle to
Yeah.
yourself.
If you
Let,
just, yeah, if you mess up or
yeah,
you think in your head, like this day was a bust, there's always
yeah,
tomorrow. Just start again. Just
yeah.
go fast on.
Yeah, here's the thing. I always like to tell people there is no getting off track really in fasting. We're all on a track that's moving in a direction, right? We're all moving in a direction. And so you're not off track. You just, maybe took a turn but you're still on a track. And I really believe when you start to understand that this is a lifestyle, right? It doesn't matter if one day you fasted 12 hours because you forgot and ate part of your child's food.
Mhm.
Well, it doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't. If
It's
I always
just
say,
a
did you put
day.
your best effort in?
Yeah.
If that's a yes, then you've had a great pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
You've done great. Do try to do better tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's always
What
tomorrow.
did you learn? What did I like to say? What did you learn about your body, about yourself? What did you learn? And embrace that. And then tomorrow's a new day.
I want to go back to what you said, committing to this as your lifestyle. That's what a lot of people come in this as they want a quick fix to drop, however much weight they're looking to drop. But it's not a quick fix. It's far from it. You are committing to a lifestyle. Once you hit your goal weight, you're not going to stop fasting. And that's the thing I really like to stress with my clients are like, are you committed to this?
Yeah.
Are you disciplined enough to commit to this for life? And it's almost like, you know, some people when they're starting out, they're just going to say yes to anything, but they're not really sure what they're saying yes to until you're really in it. And for myself, I had almost like an emotional response to it because I was like, I kind of grieved eating in the morning. But then I was like, that's dumb because I feel like crap now if I eat in the morning. Like, what does it matter what time I eat? I'm eating every single day, like way better than I used to. And all these all this health stuff is going away. So
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just like, I'm sorry, I'm getting totally off track because I'm sleep deprived today.
But Michelle, you brought up a great point about committing to the lifestyle. So, and people don't know what they're committing to. Well, could you commit to eating just for 8 hours a day? Right? So you're fasting 16, you're going to eat 8 hours a day. Commit to that first, and then maybe in a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe it's a month, 2 months. Could you commit to eating 6 hours?
Yeah, I mean, starting off slow is such a good way to go. I mean, some people like to dive into something more intense, but I started super slow. I started with like a 14-hour fast.
Yeah. But you know what? You started. That's it. It's the start that
Just
stops
start.
most people. It's the start that stops most people. And with this, you just do that start, and then each day is a new day. I just feel so many of the people that I've coached and worked with, they're like, I can't believe how easy this is. It's simple. It's not always easy, but there are times, especially here in the north, there's a lot of times with our weather and lack of sun,
I don't know
we're
how y'all do it.
we're white knuckling it, but we
Oh,
know that. That it's okay, it's winter, this is kind of what we do.
hmm.
Um, but you it's the mindset. It's that
Yeah.
mindset of knowing. I with the people that I coach, I like to start every day with affirmations,
Oh,
a
I like
single
that.
affirmation like, I can do hard things,
Yeah,
or
I
it's
love
going to
that
be a
one.
great day. I mean, those are simple little affirmations.
If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you.
Yes, I'm going to do my best today. That's a simple affirmation, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
it's making it
it
your
just,
habit, making it your
yeah.
habit every day, putting in your best effort and having a lot of grace with yourself because it's not going to be a perfect road at all. Um, so you're still coaching. How many women are you coaching right now?
Well, right now I'm taking a little break. I coached women for a year, and actually our group, I'm so humbled and amazed. I mean,
Oh,
together, people have left behind over 500 pounds.
what?
And, I've got
That's
a couple of
incredible.
people that, had big weight losses, like
Wow.
almost 100 pounds, 80 some pounds, 40 pounds here. It's been amazing. And then the health benefits, the no more inflammation in the body, and just feeling so much
Mhm,
better, more
mhm.
confidence. And so I'm taking a little break, going on vacation, but we're still
Yeah,
communicating with one another and supporting each
sure.
other. A lot of them now are in our Facebook group, and love
Wonderful.
that.
Wonderful.
Um, and then, Michelle, I'm not sure when I come back in the beginning of March, but as I said to you,
Yeah,
I'm really, I'm praying about, and I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel,
I think you should.
and just
I'm here for it.
where people can come on, and and it's not going to be real involved. Maybe I'll go on once a week, maybe twice a week, and do some lives, but just to be that voice like you are through your
Yeah.
podcast,
Another, I
just to
like to
be that
call us
voice.
the sharers, the seed planters,
Yeah.
it's how we get the word moving across, you know?
Yes. I just want to spread the word. The freedom. I wish I'd have found this when I was 40, right? Or
Me
30
too.
or 20,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know.
it's crazy. Like if I think back of how many diets and how much stress I could have prevented in my 20s and even into my 30s, just yo-yo dieting my way through it. It was so stressful and so I just felt deprived all the time and
Yes.
nothing was really working. I mean, of course I lost weight in my 20s. Everyone loses weight in their 20s. It's
Right.
because you're 20. Like
Yeah. All
Trust
right.
me, that does not last. So
Yeah.
call me back at 30 and we'll have a talk. So yeah, I know everything
And
kind of slows down after that.
do you know what else, Michelle? I think for me is I think back on all the shame, right? The shame that you would, there was that joy of losing it, and then the shame that it all came back, and living in
Yeah,
that
it was
as
a
well.
constant
And
mental struggle.
yeah, constant mental struggle. And so this freedom is something that I just want people to know it's there for them. They may not, they might be in their 20s, 30s hearing about it and be like, it's not for me. And then 10 years later, they can come back to it because it works and it's still there.
Listen, ladies, if you want to not ever need Botox and you're in your
Yeah.
20s, start fasting. Start fasting today because you will have the best face in your 40s in town. Like it's
Right. Or when you're going to
honestly,
turn 70, Michelle, or when
you
you're going
don't
to
look
turn
right.
70.
I was just gonna say you're the perfect example because like you look amazing. Like you don't
Thank
look
you.
70 at all. Not at all. It's
Well,
just a testament to how fasting is so beneficial to for aging.
and you know what, Michelle, not looking 70 is, I mean, I do love that I don't look my age, but it's not feeling 70 that's even better.
There
Do you
we
know what
go.
I mean? Not
Oh
feeling
yeah.
like I can't get down on the floor with my grandkids or my dog, or I can get down but I can't get back up again because everything hurts and I can't move and I can't. And knowing, that's why I really, when I think about the YouTube, I think about focusing on that healthy aging aspect. Like, what can you do now? And it's not too late if you already are 70 listening to this, or over 70 or
It's
80.
never too late.
It's never too late and it's never too early.
That's right.
That's the thing. It's never too early and it's never too late to start, impacting how your body is feeling on a day-to-day basis. I truly believe that with every part of me. I really do.
100%. I mean, it's the earlier you start, the better, and it's never ever too late. I love that. Whoever's listening to this, if you're thinking about it, just start it. Just start it because there's never going to be a good time. I was just talking about this with a couple of guests ago, and there's never a good time to start. You can't just keep waiting for the perfect time. There's never a perfect time. It's like having kids. There's no perfect time. You just
Yeah.
have to dive in and start. So
Kind of like you did with this podcast, Michelle, right? I bet you thought about it a lot before you started.
I thought about it a lot. In fact, I thought about it for like a year before I even got the nerve to try. So, and it was very nerve wracking at first, let me tell you. So I've come a long way from that, which I'm super grateful for. And I'm like super thrilled to have you on for a second time. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, and I'm excited for I learn so much every time I listen to one of your podcasts.
Oh,
You have a
thanks.
way of drawing out such great information from people. So thank you for inviting me back.
Oh, it's been a
And
pleasure
one
and
of these
honor.
days I'm going to have you on to interview you on my YouTube
I would
channel.
love it. I would love it. I'm here for it anytime. And
Thank you.
yeah, just let me know. Say the word. And where are you going on vacation? Anywhere exciting?
So my sister, who you've met, is
Yeah.
they full-time RV full-time during the winter
Yes.
months.
Hmm.
And so my husband and I are going to fly out to Vegas and then drive about an hour north and west, and going to meet up with them, and then we'll be with them for a couple of weeks. And then we're going to depart from them and go to the Grand Canyon, which I've always
Wow.
wanted to go to.
I've never been
Um,
either.
for a few days. Although I'm really hoping, because we don't leave till the middle of February, but the Grand Canyon's been like colder than we are. So I'm really hoping things kind of warm up. Out west is having unusually cold weather. So
It's surprisingly cold out there in the desert in the winter. I
yeah.
didn't really understand the weight of the desert cold until I was out there, but it really gets you to your core. But that
Yeah.
sounds like a lot of fun. I hope you have a
Yeah.
great vacation and a great break from just, your everyday, life. I hope I can get a vacation in this year. No, maybe I can. We will see. But it's been great catching up, Joyce, and I hope to have you on again soon.
Absolutely, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.